Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for December 29th, 2019, with your host, Peaceburger2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
That might be why I was having issues when I was streaming. Fucking Windows updates were happening in the background.
I mean, what do you expect?
I know, but I didn't realize it was until I saw the icon down here saying, "Hey, would you like to schedule your restart to do updates?" And I was like, "You motherfucker." That's why you were being garbage.
You know what? I'm fixing to do a dumb.
What?
I'm fixing to power level the Rotom just to see.
I forget, you can change Rotom's typing. I don't remember where.
I mean, it's an electric ghost by default, so I'm like, sure. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But I'm fixing to see why people in competitive just do that. If it's just for a meme or if it's actual usefulness. I feel like it's a meme.
Well, it can be
really
electric
do.
ghost. Well, depending on the type coverage you want. It's electric ghost, electric ice, electric fire, electric grass, electric flying, and electric water.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask the dumb. Dual typings like that. Because
Yes.
I've got one that's a water grass, I think it is. I might have them inverted. How would like fire deal with that? Because the water part would be immune, but the grass would be weak.
What's the Pokemon?
I don't remember right offhand. I think it's Lotad.
Yeah, that sounds right, because I believe
Yeah, it's Lotad.
Lotad's, yeah, watergrass.
And I mean, does that work with all of them? That same kind of
fire
concept.
is neutral.
So if it's weak and resistant, then it's just a neutral kind of concept?
Yes. It more or less cancels out.
Okay. Because I came across the Growlithe and I started to use it, and then I was like, actually, I don't know how that works. That might backfire.
Yeah. Dual typings can get weird because I think it also depends on the order of the typing. I think affects it as well. I think that plays into it.
I mean, that would make sense.
I've never paid that much attention, so I don't know. But anyway, folks, we're covering the second to last batch of episodes for Fourze. Yes, we are literally at the end of the show. How do you feel about being 4 episodes away from the end? After this batch.
After this batch?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Have I mentioned that they had to run through the horoscopes really fast because guess what half of next week's episodes is?
I'm more at the oh boy because of everything actually that happens in the first 2 of these 4.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, the part I was remembering, I was just like, oh fuck, yeah, I remember this part.
Like,
I was...
Is it weird that one of the twists I didn't even really catch on to, but I'm sure was probably hinted somewhere?
I think based off behavior, you could suspect it. But I don't think there was anything outright hinting at that. Outside of yeah, I think outside of the obvious, we've already introduced a horoscope that's the opposite gender of what we portrayed it as. So don't be surprised if we go the other direction on that one again. The Scorpio was portrayed to be male, but it turned out to be female. And here we have Virgo, who's very obviously a female horoscope. Surprise, it's a male guy. Which, what I just said is redundant.
Yes, very.
It's just a guy. He's not a mailman. No, that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that was the only other thing really outside of just general behavior of Virgo, because like Virgo's just been in the background this entire time. This is the first time she became active, and I think the start of this episode kind of would make you go, "Huh, this is the first time Virgo's ever been really active against the club." Immediately, and is also the only one to ever directly go after anyone in the club. That's suspicious.
I may have just realized why I got traded to Sonics. And the Sonics is fixing to go to surprise trade.
Is it garbage?
Onyx is loafing around. Would you do something? He had like 3 turns in a row.
Isn't he a sleepy Onyx?
Yes.
Aww.
Yes.
Poor sleepy Onyx.
But he hits like a Mack truck when he actually does something.
That might be Slack King's ability now that I think about it.
Like,
yeah, I think that's Slack.
I looked at the level and I kind of just said, oh, wow. But now I'm kind of wondering.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, the episodes we're covering this week are episodes 41 through 44. Like I said, the second to last batch of episodes for us. Next week will be the final 4 episodes, but we are not quite done with Fourze at that. We'll get to that later. I guess you covered mostly of how you felt going into these episodes. What about the other half?
Part of me feels like that other half might have just tried to be shoehorned in so that we didn't have to introduce new characters, but still be able to, fill out the roster.
But it has such an important plot point introduced into it. If you're confused about it, don't worry. It's actually not as important as the show tries to present it as. Because there's an 11th hour thing in Fourze that kind of is introduced in dialogue, but it goes nowhere.
Fast.
Nowhere as in actually nowhere. Quite literally nowhere.
Well then.
Yeah. But these episodes debut July 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd for 2012. Our July batch of episodes, because the first episode, next batch, debuted in August because of Olympics. Oh no, what happened?
I know why. I know why.
What?
I won't be able to use the Sonics for a long time.
What happened?
I think it's because it's so high a level it don't want to listen. Because it just came up with the won't obey.
I was about to say, what level is it?
60.
How many badges do you have?
I've not done anything yet.
That would be why!
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, of course he doesn't want to do anything. You don't have enough badges to make him listen to you.
Well, I officially have Broxonics then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, I had to, because that was one of those that I just realized what was going on there, and I'm like, yep, makes sense now.
But yeah, I was I was waiting on the first half of these because I remembered this exact twist once we got later in the show of just like, oh fuck, right. All three of these people are the same character. Right. Forgot about that.
Yeah, and that... Like, we already got the...
reveal that Emoto is...
For Emoto.
Yeah, that he's Virgo.
But it was the added twist. And the way they did it was what kind of got me too, because I was like, wait a minute. We know all now.
We know this three-way dance, but the club only knows the other half of the dance.
And by the club, you mean what's left of it at that point.
Yes. Yeah, what's left of the club at the moment. Yeah, shall we get rolling?
I guess we shall.
Alright, so we're going to kick things off with episode 41, The Club Collapse. We start with our villains convening to discuss current events, and Virgo is reminded of her ongoing task of taking out whoever's supporting Meteor and gave him a belt and shit. A little hard for him to do that.
Yeah, for reasons we'll get to later.
Yeah, Leo decides to step in and says, I will do the job, and Virgo goes, no the fuck you won't, this is my job, you fucking go do your bullshit. Go fucking guard Kamen and get angry when somebody decides to be nice to him. Jackass. Virgo reveals herself as Emoto, which Hayame is surprised by, because if you haven't noticed by now, Hayame should be dead by now, but he's not, only because he has the special eye that makes us get through horoscopes faster.
He has plot eye.
Pretty much. That is the only reason he is still kicking. Spoilers, it will not last that much longer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it kind of can't. We are kind of in the end.
Yep. Kamal pretty much tells Virgo, hey, if you don't get shit done, I'll fucking get shit done, and we show that he is now fully Sagittarius, only in silhouette, though. We don't get the full reveal of Sagittarius just yet. Meanwhile, we check in with the club on the rooftop of the school somewhere, I assume, as they've been looking for Tomoko because she's apparently been missing for 3 days! Okay.
And cops have not been called.
Cops have not been called, and somehow we have convinced her parents to not call the cops as well. This is where Tachibana calls in to pretty much inform to say, oh, the horoscopes probably got a hold of her. The rest of the club is probably in danger, and y'all need to not be around Gintaro, Ryusei, and Kengo. You know, the useful people in the club at the moment. I love how Tachibana is secretly showcasing the fact of only 3 people right now in the club are actually useful. And Kengo is even questionable at the moment since there are no new switches for him to develop.
Yeah.
He also tells Gintaro that he needs to find a way to achieve Cosmic without the caveat of being buddies with the club members, because friendships are dangerous. Which Gintaro immediately after Tachibana hangs up is like, bullshit. Yeah, right. But the club is going to stand together for now. But we cut to the next day where Virgo decides to attack the other club members. So she attacks Shun while who's taking a shower and bare ass naked. I find it hilarious how many times we have seen various actors' asses in this franchise. That just seems like normal to me at this point. But she harasses Shun in the shower at his home. Jake is threatened while he's trying to find Tomoko and is teleported to the top of a building and threatened to be thrown off said building. Miyu, meanwhile, is threatened while she's walking with June, her cheerleader friend, and I love that she gives absolutely zero fucks while staring directly down the horoscope that could like blow up a part of her with a goddamn black hole.
And literally just it has her literally picked up by the neck and is like, yeah.
Yep. I love how Miyu is the only person in the club who has no power set, but literally could give a fuck.
It's one of those, someone needs to give her a belt.
I'm sure in some, I'm sure someone has somewhere. But she does react when Virgo decides to threaten June in exchange. And finally, Virgo decides to interrupt finals and takes Yuki away to threaten her as well. But Gintaro and Yusei manage to just tag along Gintaro along with the teleport that Virgo uses, and Ryusei rides in with Meteor's transformation, I guess because he knew where they were. Unfortunately, they are still no match for Virgo. So, yeah, more or less, the rest of the club has been put on notice, and everyone's a bit shaken by the fact that Virgo has literally threatened them with oblivion. And she even confirms that, yes, I did dunk Tomoko in the Dark Nebula, which, you know, pisses off Ryusei. Because if you haven't noticed, the show has been quietly shipping the two of them in the background.
Yes, until we get to the last of these 4 episodes, and then... yeah.
And then it's blatantly blatant as fuck, especially with Yuki being the one to put it on the table, but... Anyway. Virgo ends up leaving after dropping this, but Kengo sends one of the Nugget Roids to go spy on her. Unfortunately, Emoto, as the Virgo, destroys it before it can communicate any information. Unfortunately, he fucked up by destroying it to start with. Maybe he should have just teleported away and then teleported back. Back at the hutch, the club regroups, with Miyu actually being the first one to just go, look, we do need to stand down, we do need to separate, and we do need to put distance to maybe not put a target on our backs. And she specifically says she's doing this for June. And more or less everyone else follows suits with Gintaro, surprisingly understanding, and sends them off with a smile. It's like, I get it. I know. I understand. We gotta do what we gotta do. I'm fine. I'm okay. This is fine. But everyone's a bit distraught over this, including Asugi, who tries to comfort Jake after this, and that doesn't help. Because it's Asugi. This is when we see, with our remaining club members of Gintaro, Ryusei, and Kengo, that Tachibana arrives in person at the hutch. He's here to train Gintaro to use Cosmic without the caveat with Cosmic, more or less. Gintaro tries to befriend him, but it doesn't work because Tachibana does not need friends. But we do see that Cosmic is on the fritz, which I forgot that they showed that Cosmic is on the fritz in these 2 episodes. I thought it was just a one-time with Jake. Shows once more how much I remember the little things in this show. So yeah, the training is needed, so Gintaro can learn to be heartless, and that way he can access Cosmic without needing his friends. So they're off to a quarry to train, and the training is, I have this pot with Meteor's logo on it. Come get it and blow it up. Do whatever you need to do. And Tachibana's not going to make it easy because he has a jetpack, several traps that he had set up in the mountainside that is at this quarry, and telling Ryusei, hey, I turned on the automatic switch in the satellite. Totally not putting a death flag on my head for that one.
Yeah, and totally not just setting up to remove the hole. He has to hide.
Yeah.
Which, after these 2 episodes, I now have to go into question as to why we went all that way.
Because it was a part of Emoto's long game, I assume.
But the what gets me is we know Gamal wants to find out who's supplying him first.
Yeah.
So keeping Ryusei's identity secret doesn't seem like that matters.
True.
Like, in the grand scheme of things, especially the fact of knowing both sides of this does not make any sense.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things of, it was here because it was a thing we wanted for some plot stuff earlier on, but now it's just like, that it doesn't make sense.
I could understand not letting the club know. Be like the secret help for Fourze kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But after the club knows, I don't understand why we proceeded to keep that going forward. Like, that's where it kind of gets me. It's like, sure, I can get it. Don't let anyone know until then. And then it's like, okay, now let's be a little more open about it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, to all of this going on, because Ryusei is running interference to Gentro as Meteor, Hayame is trying to recruit Leo to his side because he's realizing, oh shit, my clock's ticking. I probably need someone to keep me alive. Maybe I should recruit the only other person who's not the boss at the moment. That wouldn't kill me. Oh look, it doesn't work. I'm on my own. He so much wants to pull a Starscream, but has nowhere near the capabilities to even remotely try to pull a Starscream. But we do get the note that apparently Hayame can see where all the horoscope switches are. Discord? Oh, Discord froze for a second. Oh, right, Discord's freezing.
Well, that's great.
It's one of those nights. Anyway, checking back in with Gentro. He's doing his best, because he's also having to fight off Meteor's bike, which is on autopilot. And Tachibana, who just hijacked the power dizer to use. So Gentro disables that. Then Tachibana goes flying, and Gentro's like, alright, fine, I'll use the movie switch. And he pulls out the super rocket switch, goes rocket states to finally get Tachibana back. Unfortunately, he passed the pot to Ryusei, so didn't pass it. Our one and only time of using rocket states. Although, supposedly, according to some trivia I pulled up, there was supposed to be a shot of Nadeshiko in the episode, but it was left out.
Well, that kind of sucks.
At the very least, she's mentioned by name.
True.
Although I guess the question becomes is, if Gentro's had this on him the entire time, why has he not used it now? Or why did it take on him now? And I guess it's one of those cases of, I'm not using it because there's complicated feelings attached to it, but is this a case of, I gotta pull this out because I got no options?
I think it's a case of he hasn't used it so far because that probably would have made him feel like he was using a friend kind of deal.
Yeah.
And at this, it's a point of, okay, I have nothing. Sure, we'll try it.
I need to fly, and the one form I have that can fly doesn't work at the moment.
Either that, or maybe the mindset is, I will prove to you friendship will prevail kind of concept.
Yes, by using the switch that was made from my space alien girlfriend who's somewhere in space at the moment. And I won't get to talk to her until like 10 years from now. It's not 10 years, but it's less than that. Like I said, we'll get to the complicated part of Ultimatum in about a couple weeks. Anyway, this is when Kingo decides to interrupt, more or less asking, "Hey Tachibana, why do you have remnants of Nugget Roid on your hand? That's suspicious." So Tachibana just outright goes, "By the way, I'm Virgo," and reveals himself as Virgo, meaning, yes, we now know as the audience that Emoto, Virgo, and Tachibana have all been the same person. The man of three faces. Of course, Ryusei is obviously pissed about this, considering, you know, the guy that was helping him, the guy who gave him the belt, and all this, dunked his soon-to-be girlfriend in the fucking black hole. He's not happy about that.
Yeah, not at all.
So he starts to go after Virgo, only for Libra to arrive timely, mind you, to interrupt and fight, and this gives Virgo the opening to block a Meteor Storm Punisher and proceed to dunk Meteor into the Dark Nebula for his efforts, and we end the episode there. Which takes us to episode 42, Archer's Reign. Gintro tries to fight back in Rocket States for a hot minute, which I love that they tried to do a fight scene in a suit with these two giant, what have to be solid fucking giant rocket modules. I'm like, why are you even pretending to try to do a fight scene with this that's not CGI'd? There is no way in hell you're doing this. Don't pretend. Those are unwieldy as fuck. You're gonna get away with one of them. Two? Not so much.
True.
But eventually Virgo pulls herself and Libra away. They bicker for a minute at the principal's office before Virgo more or less just pulls ranks and is like, "Shut up! You don't need to know what I do when I'm not reporting to Kamau. Bye!" So Emoto heads back to the M-Bus, turns back into Tachibana, and he continues to plot for his master plan of sorts. We check back in with Gintro and Kingo as they are a bit stunned by all this and are left with obviously more questions than answers. But they ended up spot, thanks to the food Roy, that Meteor's top is still spinning. I'm sure someone can put in their Inception references in here.
I mean, yeah.
Later on, we have Gintro checking in with our Wayward Club members as Shin and Miyu are watching over cheerleading practice, only to mistake a pine cone for a switch. Gintro just drops by, says hi, tells them, "Don't worry about stuff. We got it handled. Bye." He checks in with Jake as he's breakdancing, just to cheer him on. And finally, he just checks in with Yuki at JAXA, just happy to see her keep pursuing her dream, and just like, "Hey, happy for you. We got things covered here. Don't have to worry about it. Goodbye." We end up back at the hutch with Kingo trying to find a bypass on Cosmic and not finding one. And Gintro just is like, "All right, here's some food. Fill up, please. Don't pass out on me. You are literally the last person left here. I do not need anyone else to leave." But this is when Gintro decides to continue Tachibana's training, much to Kingo's irritation. But he comes around, and a weird thing that I feel like should be mentioned as a nod to Double, because there's also a nod to Double in the next two episodes. As Kingo tells Gintro, it's like, "I'll follow you to hell," and Gintro replies, "Try not to."
Yeah.
Which is a pseudo, I feel like it's a pseudo reference to Double
I
with
feel like it
Shotaro
probably
Phillips.
was.
Yeah, because they have the catchphrase from the episode previews used in the next two episodes with the 2-in-1 horoscope. Yeah, they also see that with Mirror's top still sitting, that is a sign that their friends are out there somewhere. They're not dead. This is when we check in with Virgo, as she's checking in with Kamau and reports Meteor's quote-unquote destruction, and explains Tachibana's existence in the anti-Zodiac alliance, whatnot bullshit.
Yeah.
More or less just like, I'm gonna keep lying until someone calls me out. Which, before he leaves, Kamau proceeds to be like, you lied to me. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Don't lie to me. So we head back to the quarry. Gentaro transforms, continue his training with Virgo. Or with Tachibana, so more or less he's going to be fighting Virgo. And it does not go well. He's kind of properly demolished and tossed into a warehouse that is somewhere near this quarry. And a very strange cut, I might add. So, outmatched and tossed around in this warehouse, Gentaro refuses to give up on his bonds. With Virgo saying to him in response that, no, those bonds will destroy you, just like it did for me. So you need to give up on them now. And Gentaro more or less sees that, oh, you got this from not good means, didn't you? I love how much Gentaro can tell about people just by just based off small tidbits. You know, if he's smart enough to play poker, he would probably be the worst person to play poker against, because he would know exactly what your hand is and know exactly how to beat you in like 2 turns.
To be fair, you're right. But he would also be your friend while he was doing it.
Yep. So yeah, to block a big shot, Gentaro actually does go cosmic, blocks it, destroys the pot in the process, completing the training. Which Virgo believes, oh, you became heartless, and that's how you went cosmic. And Gentaro's like, nope, I just believe in my bonds, and even though the club's not here, I still believe in them. I'm still friends with them, and I'm not gonna let go. And the only reason it fucked up before is because I was hesitating. I was the one. It was my fault. But this is when the club arrives, refusing to back down as well. They're in for the long haul. Oh boy, we're gonna be in for the long haul in the next 4 episodes, so.
Oh yeah.
Gentaro more or less dismisses Virgo's ideals, showing that, hey, friendship is the right thing to have. And so with Virgo both physically and verbally defeated, he brings back Ryusei and Tomoko, and we find out, oh, we were just on the M-bus in stasis and asleep. And all of those other people that got dunked in the Dark Nebula, they're also here. We're not going to see them at all. What happened to them is apparently covered in the Fourze novel. That takes place after the end of the show, and more or less at Gentaro, Kingo, and Yuki's graduation. So yeah, that's all I can tell you about the novel. That I don't know much more than that. But now, turning back into Tachibana, he now reveals himself as Emoto, explaining his actions as playing the horoscopes in order to destroy them from within. So, hey, we have a friend. He gets the fist bump and stuff, and then is immediately shot in the back by Sagittarius. By the way, he's not dead from this by some miracle. Normally, when that happens to someone, they're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, usually dead.
Yep. So Sagittarius here, he gets another shot off. Virgo takes the brunt of it to protect the club. This prompts Gintaro and Yusei, for the first time ever, to go into a form that is not their base form off the bat. They go Cosmic and Meteor Storm off the bat, which is the first time ever. That is honestly surprising given this day and age of Rider.
True.
So yeah, Gintaro and Ryusei are going to go fight Sagittarius while Emoto teleports the rest of the club to safety. And then Kingo to go talk real quick and being like, by the way, I'm also the guy that killed your father. Sorry about that. There's something else I need to tell you. But he's interrupted by Libra and Leo. So he has to go teleport them away to go fight them to protect Kingo. So he doesn't get to talk about that just yet. But we'll get to what that's related to here in a bit. Meanwhile, Ryusei and Gintaro are absolutely demolished by the Archer as he's more or less playing with them. Sagittarius is that strong, and he's only going to get stronger. Because bear in mind, he has not gone supernova. Spoilers, he will go supernova.
Oh boy.
Don't worry, it's not a CGI mess.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, I think if you saw me playing Traveler Senki, you would have seen Sagittarius Supernova. Because I think the fight you do against him is Sagittarius Supernova in that game.
Huh.
Anyway, with the Riders demolished, Sagittarius leaves, winning the day, essentially. Because we see Emoto practically dying on the ground as Libra and Leo take his switch and leave. And he dies, happy that he at least made one friend. I made a friend. I'm not lonely anymore. So on the moon, the club holds a funeral for the three faces of Emoto, essentially. Laying to rest his helmet as Tachibana, his glasses, and a picture of him with Kingo's father, and Gintaro swearing that he will protect his friends no matter what. Oh, Gintaro, I am so sorry, because Karma decided to bite you in the ass in the next 2 episodes on that statement. So how'd you feel about our first half of, here's our main villain, folks, here's our final villain?
Oof.
Oof, indeed. I'm not gonna lie, I missed this. I missed the final villain not showing up towards the end in terms of a physical sense, and when he shows up, oh look, he whips our Riders' asses. He is that strong. It is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight when we finally beat him. Yeah, and finally getting Virgo on the table as, hey, this is Emoto in Tachibana. As you said, it complicates things because now Emoto's whole plan as Tachibana is kind of in question in terms of why he kept Ryusei's identity hidden, but...
Yeah, like, that's the problem I've got with it. It's like, that don't make any sense.
Yeah. It feels like if they had more episodes, maybe they could explain it. But since we are literally at the final 8 episodes, we ain't got time for that shit.
I don't even know if there'd be a good way to properly explain why they did it that way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, Gamal isn't concerned with who Meteor is, he's more concerned with why Meteor exists.
Yeah.
So, as long as no one could find out about Tachibana or why he's doing it, why did his identity have to be secret? It's not like he was going to some kind of anti-horoscope meeting somewhere that they could follow him. I mean, that's why I'm like, I feel like we're glossing over something just to say we did this. But I don't think that's a bad enough knock to be like, okay, this arc just kind of royally goofed a whole plot point for the show.
Yeah. And at least, I will say this, I like that at least the twist on both accounts of his identity made sense.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that apparently people were a little disappointed that Guy was Fourze because it wasn't surprising. And I look at them and go, what? Why? It made sense. The show signposted it for several episodes that Guy was going to be Fourze. Why are you disappointed? Why are you disappointed that the show did the exact thing it said it was going to do?
And you're exactly right. Signposted it.
Yeah. Because
I mean, Mr. 1000% there. If he wasn't gonna be, then something's wrong.
Yeah, because here's the thing. In the context of the show, we're not supposed to know about Fourze for as early as we did. We're not even supposed to know that Fourze is a fucking writer. All we're supposed to know is just like, at some point, Guy's like, oh, you're going to meet Fourze. And we're like, who the fuck's Fourze? Instead of going, oh yeah, Fourze's that new writer with a new belt coming in like next month, right? I feel like that distinction needs to be made in Toku of just like, we're not so technically supposed to know about the toy stuff like so early in advance. It's technically a spoiler. Is it contextual a spoiler, mind you, but it's still a spoiler. By the show's writing, we're not supposed to know about Fourze.
True.
But yeah, this is a really good 2 episodes that really just shakes up and goes, oh yeah, here's who you thought was going to be a primary villain. They're not. But guess what? They're gone, and we replaced them with an even stronger villain. And we have set up very much the end game. And we have the first of those 2 pieces of that end game starting here with episode 43, The Light and Dark Twins. So we're going to kick off with Yuki and Kengo. They've gotten an invite to some NASA training by Kamau, or sponsored by Kamau. It's not that relevant. All you need to know is Yuki's the one with the paperwork at the moment. Kengo doesn't have his paperwork, and she's supposed to deliver it to him. She's all excited about it until she realized Kengo's probably going to be the one getting it. So she asks this voice of space, or voice from space, if there's some way she can still. And this is when Kamau comes in, a twinkle in his eye, going, "The fuck did you say?" And Yuki tries to be like, like, tell me everything. So Yuki explains that when she was very young, she heard a voice from space calling to her, telling her to come to space and to say hi to whoever this is. This doesn't sound like a trap.
At all.
By the way, this is a plot point. An extreme plot point. is when
Yep.
Kamau demands Hayame who do what?
You might want to revert back there.
Oh, damn it. No! Discord!
I hate Discord sometimes because it just randomly says nope.
I was about to say, how do you feel about TeamSpeak still? Because I found out the Grand Theft Auto 5 role-playing community uses TeamSpeak for that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I found that out the other day. And I was just like, oh my god, that takes me back about 7 years. Anyway, how far back am I rolling?
Just a little bit. Back to right past the trap part. But it feeling like a trap from her telling Kamau about the voice from space.
Yep. So yeah, Yuki writes this off as like, no one ever believed me because this is a crazy thing. But Kamau believes her wholly, and she goes off happy that someone believes her. So Kamau tells Hayame, who's in the room because he's the one that delivered Yuki the paperwork, look at her now. And he's like, but I looked at her like those episodes ago when we had everybody in the chambers and shit, and she didn't have it. Now, do it. So he transforms while Yuki is not looking behind her at all and doesn't also hear Libra's staff cling. Because I think it cleans in this scene.
I think you're right.
But Hayame looks, and she has the Gemini constellation in her. Uh-oh. That's not good. So we cut to later where Gentaro arrives at the school, and he sees Yuki skipping down the hallway, only for her to throw Hayabusa-kun into the ground, kind of breaking him, and rips up Kengo's application before skipping away, all happy and joyful. Uh-oh. And as Gentaro looks at all this stuff, confused why the fuck Yuki did all this bullshit, we see Yuki outside holding the Gemini horoscope switch. Uh-oh. Extreme uh-oh. For the first time ever, we truly have one of the club members as a Zodiart. After teasing it several times. So we cut to the hutch as the group more or less confronts Yuki, who drops by, of what the fuck's going on. But she immediately denies everything, having no idea what the fuck's going on. And after very much not liking that Gentaro is also doubting her, her longtime friend, as we're going to call back on that one since, it's been a while since we've reminded you that, yeah, Gentaro knew Yuki before anyone else in this fucking club. They are extremely old friends. But she hates that Gentaro is also doubting her, and has even forgotten about a ticket that the two of them know about. This is when Sugi arrives, confronting Yuki about how she sprayed space graffiti on a wall at the school. But once more, she has no idea what the fuck anyone's talking about. And this is when a fucking mob of students also arrive with similar graffiti stories. And once more, she's like, what the fuck's going on? What? I don't know what's happening. So she tries to separate herself from the mob as the group speculates that she has a doppelganger, which, as it turns out, is half true. But Miyu immediately waves this off and demands an explanation from Yuki, who has no explanation because, she has no idea what the fuck's going on. So she more or less blows off the entire club and runs to try to get away from the mob. And this is when we see Sugi overlooking this entire situation from on high, saying, "Oh, I will figure this out," only to have been pranked by Yuki, who should not have made it up those stairs in time. That's strange. And then we proceed to see this mysterious other Yuki proceed to prank the rest of the club in various ways, various not harmful ways, until she gets Miyu up a flight of stairs and then tries to throw her off said flight of stairs to her death. Purposely.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That's escalation. That's extreme escalation. But Gintro makes the save as Miyu gets knocked off. And this is when we see this mysterious Yuki turn into Gemini and falls down and has a fight with Gintro using the different cards she has, one of which explodes immediately. The other is a timed, or more like a remote explosive. This is when Ryusei arrives at Meteor to also fight, only for Gintro to be like, no, it's Yuki. No, don't fight her. Because Gintro's like, I don't like this. I really don't like this. But this only opens the both of them up to get knocked around some more before Gemini runs off and the real Yuki arrives on stage being like, what the fuck's going on? And she ends up taking the fall for this. So she's dragged back to the hutch and restrained while the club's trying to figure out, what the fuck's going on. We have Yuki going crazy, but also not going crazy. What? Somebody explain. We require explanation from someone in this room. Primarily Yuki, but apparently she knows nothing. But as they're discussing possibilities, she does manage to talk Gintro into letting her go. So she heads off home to her eccentric parents. Out of curiosity,
lightly.
Oh yeah, this is one of those cases where I'm like, this makes sense. Considering how she acts. No, this makes sense. By the way, did you recognize the dad by chance?
I don't think I did right offhand.
I didn't either until I was checking credentials because I was curious if either one of them were previous. We've seen them previously. In fact, we have. Her dad's Maki.
Wait, really?
Yes, that's Maki's actor playing the role as Yuki's dad. I was like, what the fuck?
That's actually fitting.
I know. I'm just like, oh look. He's, yeah. God damn it. So yeah, her parents are eccentric, and usually she plays along with the eccentricities because she's from the same goddamn family tree.
Because it's Yuki.
Yeah. But she's not playing along because, she's been blamed for a lot of things today and she's not in the mood. So she heads up to her room. We come back to the hutch where Gintro is feeling very uneasy about this whole situation. Especially since he should remember a ticket, but he can't. So he's like, I gotta go apologize. I gotta go fix this because this is wrong. This is all sorts of fucked up and wrong. And this is when Asugi arrives with pictures showing our mysterious doppelganger Yuki is some girl in a Michael Myers mask. I can't help but go, that's a Michael Myers mask. Like, literally.
Yep.
But we check back with Yuki to find out that this imposter is in fact her shadow, born from Yuki being forced to activate Gemini. Specifically, she was activating a Zodiac switch. She was forced to activate a Zodiac switch by Leo and Libra, and she immediately turned into Gemini because we ain't got time for her to like take an episode to evolve. So she just is immediately Gemini. But this force activation, mainly just because it's Gemini, has created two Yukis. Normal Yuki and Shadow Yuki. And I know it's technically supposed to be Dark Yuki. I'm going to call her Shadow Yuki because I refuse to not make Persona references with these two episodes. Don't at me. So now the two Yukis are more or less fighting for existence, with the stronger one staying and the other one fading away. And oh, by the way, we're on a clock on this one. I forgot what the time is for this one, but I note it later. It's some amount of hours above 20.
Yeah, because later we managed to burn like a lot of hours really quickly.
Much. Yeah. So Shadow Yuki also, in this fight for control, is also taking away everything that makes Yuki her. So her face, literally, her personality, her memories, everything. She's ripping out of the real Yuki in order to make herself the true self. Again, I'm not going to stop making Persona references, because this is literally a Persona 4 reference. This entire situation I can literally chalk up to any number of boss fights from Persona 4, because they all start this way. Anyway, Genjiro, Kengo, and Ryusei arrive, and they transform as they chase after Shadow Yuki when she turns into Gemini. And she continues to outwit the pair until Taro goes cosmic and is like, fuck this bullshit, you're getting dunked in the net and you're getting sliced in half. I'm not dealing with this today. I've already had a fight with a best friend. I am not dealing with some monster duplicate doppelganger bullshit of her that is also going to make her disappear. Fuck that. Unfortunately, this is when Sagittarius arrives, interrupts this, frees Gemini, and allows her to go supernova, which more or less just allows her to copy herself. So now we have two Geminis, because, it's the Gemini constellation. We're really playing on that duality part. I don't know where the Jester part came from.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's from Yuki.
Probably. It would make sense that some aspect of these horoscope designs is coming from the user. But also at some point in this, I forgot when in the dialogue, but Sagittarius mentions the presenters as being the part of his end goal, is meeting them.
Yeah, it was at the very end of the dialogue.
Yeah,
right before
okay.
they went poof. But after the big boom happened, so yeah.
Alright, I'm going to put this on the table right now. The presenters are some nondescript alien species out there in the galaxy that, through the use of cosmic energy, you can meet. That is it. That is all we know. That is all we get into. They literally do not make an appearance in the show.
Well,
in any form. They are an 11th hour reveal that goes exactly nowhere. So, if there's a reason you think that I am not mentioning the presenters for a reason, it's because they are absolutely superfluous outside of being the motivation for Gamao. Because guess who also heard a voice from space? Guess what? Whose speculation in the next episode is actually dead on? Yep. Anyway, as we see the clones fight the Riders, we see that Yuki now has the mask on her face, showing us that, oh, she's the weaker one now. That's really bad. Also, if I disconnect randomly, it might be because my power goes out because the wind picked up really good and I can hear it. It went out earlier, so hopefully we get through this next episode and nothing happens. Anyway, the clone of Gemini tries to explode on Gentro, but Ryusei rips it off and takes the explosion himself. And we end the episode there. Which takes us to episode 44, Star Luck Ritual. We see that Ryusei is mostly dead from that explosion, so great start, guys. And that gives Gemini and Sagittarius a chance to run. We are now down to 12 hours as Yuki is running off because, you know, now her face is a fucking mask, and the club has been more or less blaming her for everything, and she's fucking scared, and I don't blame her. This child requires hug. She requires a massive amount of hugs. So yeah, as she's more or less trying to hide out under a bridge while Gentro tries to desperately find her, we see Shadow Yuki in the background, in the foreground, cackling madly because she's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and crazy's putting it light.
Oh yeah, she is full on bonkers. We see later Kamau and Yuki at the usual spot for our villains as they plan to go off and see the presenters, which gives Hayame even more reason to pull a traitor. Since, you know, oh look, I'm down to having to find one horoscope. I wonder what's going to happen to me after I find that one horoscope.
Yeah, not good things. He will not get cake, that is for sure.
Yep. This is where we see the club has split up to try to find Yuki, but they can't find her. And Gentro is very much blaming himself for this entire situation. He's not wrong, but it's one of those cases of no one in this group had the time nor the ability to really go, oh, we are dealing with a clone. Maybe we should have thought of that. Mainly because they never had to deal with a clone situation. We see that Tomoko's keeping an eye on Ryusei while he's recovering. And this is where Kingo gives a bit of backstory on the presenters and whatnot, and speculates that all of the Zodiarts were in some way able to hear the presenters. He's bang on that one. Guess what Kamau's entire motivation boils down to? Yep, we'll get to those in the last 4 episodes, but I'm going to say it now. Yeah, that's Kamau's entire, most of his motivation is he heard the presenters, voice the presenters, he wants to go see the presenters, he will do anything to do so. And I do mean anything. Checking in with Yuki, she finds out that Shadow Yuki has infiltrated her family and is taking her place. She tries to intervene, but is continuing to lose more and more of herself. And as Shadow Yuki taunts her, distraction from her mom, surprisingly enough, lets Yuki take the switch off her and runs. Unfortunately, our jester laughs it off since, oh, that's probably not a good thing for you to have. Uh-oh. So as she runs, she ends up getting cornered by the club, who believe her to be Shadow Yuki because they have not realized that the mask has went on her. Shit.
Because she ran before anyone could find out.
Yep. So now, pretty much the entire club, including Intro, who is extremely wanting to get this done as quick as possible, transforms, does a random limit break with a bunch of switches in order to drop Shadow Yuki out of the Gemini form, because she goes Gemini. And as I am scared, I hit switch. I don't know what I'm doing. But Kingo unfortunately realizes far too late that they've been deceived since Shadow Yuki showed up and tried to cheer them on. And Kingo notes, wait, you two are fighting. Why are you happy? Unfortunately, this just lets Shadow Yuki pick the switch back up and leaves. And Yuki also takes this time to run as well, because once more, she is scared child who requires hugs.
And doesn't remember anything at this point.
More or less. Unfortunately, at a hill that she sort of recognizes, she's picked up by Leo and Libra. Fortunately, the Burger Roy does report this to the club, so they at least know who has Yuki, but they are still on the clock. But thankfully, this is where Gintaro finally remembers his promise to Yuki as a kid, more or less. Hey, she told me that story about hearing a voice from space, and I was, spooked by it. But then I told her, you know what? I believe you, and I'll stand by you, no matter what. So he remembers what the ticket is and heads home to try to find the ticket. And we say hello to once more Uncle Gintaro. As he is woke up by all this, does a thing, and is like, oh, you kids are doing the thing. All right, I'm going back to bed. He is supremely chill about this.
Yeah.
So the next day, we're at not where the second Sabbath happened in Wizard. For reference, this is literally the exact same place where the second Sabbath from the end game of Wizard happened.
Makes sense.
Like I said before, I recognized the location in Wizard from Fourze, and this was it. The horoscopes are holding a ceremony for Shadow Yuki's ascension into full selfness, as regular Yuki is fading out. Gintaro finally manages to find a ticket and heads out, as the rest of the club is forced to watch what is presumably supposed to be the final moments of Yuki's existence. As she even believes that she is the fake now, and believes that all that bad shit she actually did instead of, her doppelganger. But Gintaro finally arrives with ticket in hand, which is a ticket to space, a lifetime ticket to space. Which I'm not sure that works that way, Gintaro, but sure, believe what you need to believe. I don't think Yuki, when she gets to go to space, can just take anyone she wants to space.
But I don't think Yuki realizes that based off of what happens at the end of the arc, kind of deal.
To be fair, they're high school kids.
But they should probably know better.
True. Anyway, the sight of ticket and Gintaro remembering it gets Yuki to rally, and well, she finally starts remembering herself and actually reverses the situation, getting the mask off of her and on the Shadow Yuki, gaining back control of her literal existence. And even a transformation into Gemini doesn't help Shadow Yuki at all. So Gintaro transforms and fights Gemini. Unfortunately, Libra, Leo, and Sagittarius are here as well, so Gintaro is 4-on-1. And bear in mind, 2 of the 4 people here he hasn't beaten yet in a straight-up fight. And also, 2 of those 4 people, he had someone else with him. So, maybe not the smartest decision to have fought. Maybe you should have ran.
This definitely isn't going to go very well.
That, or maybe start shoving people into wormholes. But Gintaro tries to go cosmic to fight everybody off, as Leo and Libra try to go after the club. Sagittarius is, of course, pissed. And as Leo transforms into, I forgot the Capricorn, and tries to fire on the club, Kingo pops a shield that protects them. I know what this means. Don't worry, it's a plot point. We'll get to it in the next batch of episodes. It's important.
Wait. Kingo did that?
Yes, Kingo did that.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, who did you think did that?
I thought it might have been something pertaining to, since this was focused around Yuki hearing the voices from space, I figured it was something pertaining to that would be brought up later.
Yeah, no, that's not Yuki, that's Kingo.
Oh.
That's why we end the episode with Kengo pondering that very moment. Yeah, with Kengo doing this kind of stuns Sagittarius, and I'm sure with those two things connected together, you can probably guess what this might lead to. Which causes Leo to take him and run, and I guess Libra as well, because he just, I guess, bugs off because he's got nothing better to do. He's the only person in here that has lost to these people. But Gemini tries the double act again and says "this will clinch it" line from the Double previews, because I don't think Double himself ever says that.
I think you're right, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
That is only from the Double previews, from the end of the Double previews, mind you, because every preview ends with that line by the narrator.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a Double reference. Yeah, it's a really obscure Double reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gemini tries to pull the same trick again. Only Ryusei makes it in time and passes off the Meteor Storm switch, which Gintaro drops into the Broadzen sword. I forget the name of Cosmic Sword. The big rocket sword, which, if you don't know, does take circle switches, so Meteor does count. Although Meteor is both Meteor and Meteor Storm for the sword. There is no distinction.
Yeah, I kind of was wondering, and that seems kind of weird. There wasn't a distinction.
I think it's because they both have the same pins. Because, for reference, for the Fourze driver, there's a set of 4 pins per... I think it's 4 pins per slot. It might be more than that, but there's a series of pins that are hit, depending on if the switch is, like, off when it's inserted or when it's pushed in. And that's how the driver knows what switch is in what slot.
Huh.
That's why Meteor is counted as the same switch, because I'm pretty sure Meteor and Meteor Storm have the same pin setup. Because the Meteor driver does not need that distinction, because it doesn't need to. Because Meteor Storm's transformation is not in the belt, it's in the switch.
I guess that makes sense, truthfully, then.
Yeah. But anywho, the Meteor Storm Beyblade absorbs the explosion. So, with Beyblade power in hand, Shadow Yuki falls because she is in fact weak to Space Sword. Leo manages to recover the switch by means I don't know, I'm not going to worry about it. We don't have Virgo to teleport in and recover the switches, but Leo has super speed, so I guess it counts.
Either that or it miraculously fell on his head and he has the ability of super good luck.
That too.
Because, I mean, space magic, we can just assume it survived re-entry.
Probably. Probably, yeah.
Actually, wait a minute. Does Gintaro get to pick where stuff goes through the portal? Or does it just go to a set place?
He actually can pick where he goes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because if it just goes to a set place, then actually wouldn't that mean that it's on the moon?
No. No, he can pick where he goes through the warp gate.
Okay. So then, yeah, he's got super good luck. We'll go with that.
The only reason I know that is because they do that exact thing in the final episode. Just as a heads up. Gintaro will teleport somebody to a specific location that is not space in the final episode. That is the only reason I know he actually has control over this. Outside of the fact that he did that exact thing in everyone in space-time, actually. Because, he teleported to space in front of XV2 and then teleported him to the moon.
That's why I didn't know if it might have been a set he teleports them, like, close enough to the moon's gravitational pull kind of deal. Because people don't realize it, but yes, the moon actually does have gravity. It's just really weak.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if maybe that's just one of those, that's where the portal always goes, or if that's a case of he picks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are down to one horoscope away from having a complete set, so Gamao, once more, Xanatos Gambit's his way to victory. No matter what our heroes do, as long as the switches are made, he wins.
Yep.
But we end back at the hutch, where Yuki gives out tickets to everybody. Single tickets out to everybody, but Ryusei, who gets a double ticket with Tomoko. Specifically, Tomoko is the one giving the tickets, and she's just like, "You're with me, Ryusei." And I'm like, "Aw, Yuki, you're a shipper at heart." But our last scene is actually on Kengo, which is once more meant to solidify, yeah, Kengo popped the shield. So, how'd you feel about these 2 episodes?
Oh boy. I feel like, for the most part, it felt somewhat padding kind of deal.
Yeah, a little. This feels like a normal 2 episodes of Fourze.
Except for we had to use the whole convenience of trying to write a plot without adding more characters.
Yeah. Spoilers, we're going to do that again next time on the start of the next 2 episodes because, yeah, we've already been introduced to who's Pisces. And I'm also even going to go the step further and say it is one of the people who got one of the 40 switches and everyone in space-time. The switch they got hinted at them being Pisces. I'm pretty sure anyone who paid attention to the list can narrow that down.
And I'm pretty sure anyone who watched the preview pretty much has an idea too.
Yeah, because they clearly show who's going to become Pisces.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Gamal, there's going to be a bit of a twist with that Zodiart that I'm sad we don't get to do more with.
Huh.
But yeah, it's a nice 2 episodes. It feels more standard-ish, which feels weird for being this close to the end of the show. But it once more, for me, gives the feeling of, all right, we had to get through 12 of these. 2 episodes each. That's like 24 episodes. If we tried to do that, that's a lot of time. And some of these have to be more important than others. This is a case of too many villains needed to be done for a 49-episode series.
Yeah. And they weren't spaced properly.
Yeah. We needed about 2 or 3 less horoscopes, and we needed these introduced earlier. But yeah, any other thoughts?
No, I ain't got any.
All right, then. Next week, it is the final 4 episodes of Fourze. We'll be doing the normal episodes, even though once more the final 2 episodes of Fourze are cut together into one larger special. I'll just do the notes for any director's cut versions of those. I don't think there's any real big differences. I think it's just expansions on certain scenes. There's no standalone scenes that are new to that director's cut, as far as I remember. So we'll be splitting the recap like we normally do. But we are not done with Fourze there. No, we will be covering, I guess, what is the culmination of all the continuity for all of these crossover movies and solo films, starting with A to Z. I guess technically if you go back to Movie War 2010 and just ignore Decade. But it technically starts with A to Z with Double and O's first meeting, because we are covering a Movie Tyson Ultimatum as the final part of our coverage of Fourze before we move on to shaky waters that is Ghost.
Yeah.
But this coming week, we're starting up Muramasa, or I'm starting up Muramasa the Demon Blade on Thursdays. We're continuing Ace Attorney Trilogy, specifically the second game, on Wednesday. Friday, we're continuing Nuzlocke and hoping that we have good luck and the game does not decide to kick us in the nuts any more than it already has.
And by we, you mainly mean you.
Yes. Fuck's sakes, game, come on. Is it because I breeze through Sword really easily that that Pokemon has to bite me back for that one?
Possibly.
And then Rampant Gaming on Saturday with something to start the new year with.
A thing.
Yep. But anyway, that'll do it for me and for Tommy. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in the new year.